What's up, everyone? We are back today talking about one of my favorite farming strategies. It is how I farmed my mage blood the last couple leagues. I've done videos on this before. What's great about it is it can be run on any map tier. It is very simple, straightforward. There is no juicing, sextants, scarabs, anything like that. Although you can juice by using the Affliction League mechanic if you so choose, but it is not necessary at all. Not only that, but because the Delirium orbs are so sought after this league, especially the Scarab ones, the prices are through the roof. This is even more profitable than it's ever been in past leagues that I've done this. So what's our passive tree going to look like? Well, I'm going to give two variations of it that you can run. We'll go over each of them, but the first one and the more simplistic one, we are going to just be trying to get Harvest and Delirium in as many maps as possible without forcing either of them onto the tree. So we're going to go straight up here, go to the left, get a better chance of getting Mirrors of Delirium, going down here, getting a better chance to get Harvest, and then we are going to get the Harvest nodes up through here, getting Stream of Consciousness, because we will not be using Scarab or Fragments. You will then continue going up here to get a couple more Harvest nodes that are very important, like Harvest Life Force can be dropped in doubles, which is always very good. Some other things, chance to spawn duplicate monsters, give you more chance to spawn that juice from Harvest, along with, 50% chance to contain additional Harvest, all the good stuff. And then on the other side, same thing, go over and get some Delirium nodes. You do not want Unending Nightmare, because that makes it so Delirium orbs cannot be found in your maps. That is very, very, very bad. Do not touch this. And then this, increased Delirium with distance from mirror. I don't usually take these. They make it a little harder. I don't think it's completely necessary. You can take these. I just do not. Then I keep going up here, and I take the Searing Exarch nodes, because the Searing Exarch altars are very, very strong, especially with things like Awakened Sextants being worth so much this league from everyone juicing. That's a very powerful altar, as well as some other ones. Then we go up and we get some more Searing Exarch nodes. This one makes it so the first, or you might get an altar a little bit quicker. This is obviously good because if you get a good altar at the very beginning of the map, carries through the rest of the map, you get more of the altars. Now, keep in mind, the Searing Exarch influence, which is only going to be viable on tier 14 plus maps. So if you're running, tier 1 through 14, or 1 through 13, sorry, that is going to not work. So you can either just not spec into these, or spec into these and just be ready to use them when you feel strong enough to do this strategy on maps that it works for. And we're going to go down, get some more Delirium stuff. 3% chance to contain layers of Delirium. This is just going to give you more rewards. It also makes it a little harder. You do not have to take this one if you are finding it super difficult, or this one. But the ones to contain a Mirror of Delirium are very important for obvious reasons. Go down here, you can get probably the most important one, and that is better chance to get Delirium orbs from your Delirium encounters. And that is obviously very important for this strategy. Go up here, you get Delirium orb types to your maps, gain +1 on map completion. This just means when you kill the map boss, you're going to get 1 extra level, and it is a huge boost. This is also a very important note. Now, quantity scales with the amount of life force dropped in the harvest. So as well as taking the increased chance to get a tier 4 plant, which is the boss plant, drops a lot of life force, can drop a Sacred Blossom. That's worth a good amount. It summons a boss. When you use Sacred Blossom in the map device, kill that boss, they drop a crystallized life force that is worth about the same as the Sacred Blossom itself. So it's always good to go in and run the boss if you can. And we're just getting quantity because the life force scales off quantity doing this ring, and then more quantity and some rarity on the middle nodes right there. Now, these harvest nodes over here are very cool, and the crop rotation node is very good. I am not going to mention it for this strategy because it's still kind of up in the air on if it's worth it. I think it is because I think it makes it more fun. It makes you have to think a little harder. You kind of have to strategize which crops you open first, but I will not be going over that in this video. I've done that in other videos. You can look on my channel, or I will put a link in the description about how I think this node is kind of broken in the right hands, but again, we won't be going over that for this video. Now, the second variation of this is just simply getting the 7th gate Atlas keystone, which is going to make it so if you have the 6 gateways allocated, you can force one of these mechanics on the map. So you go down here, you get this gateway. That's not a gateway. You will get this gateway by going down here, getting this, then putting a point into this gateway, going up here, putting a point in this gateway, and then a point into here. And then the final gateway, I believe, is... There's one right here, right here. There's one right here, and then right here and right here. So we just add these in, getting these 6 gateways, and then getting this just makes it so that when you go to your map device, you have every option available that you can put on a map. So you can force 10C or 12C, you can put either Delirium or Harvest. Doesn't matter. I know this seems kind of pricey for a lot of people. It is not, as long as you could do the strategy. 10C is not that bad for getting a 6 to 7 stack Delirium. It is worth it because one Delirium orb, even if one drops, and which is very common in this strategy, sometimes 2 or 3 can drop, which is not that rare either. It is going to be worth more than 10C by quite a bit. Now that also means, of course, if you're forcing something, you don't need to take the nodes that make it so that they appear more often, because they're going to appear every time because you are using the map crafting option. So you can drop some of these and put them in other things. Now I suggest keeping the 2% monster in each of your maps to drop an additional connected map. I think that is very important to keep with map sustain. We'll go over the map sustain in a second. But you can drop some of these and put them into some other stuff that you like to run. Another thing that is not influenced by map tier is essences. You can see even with these nodes allocated, I still had points left over. That is to give you a little bit of room to play with, or maybe you haven't completely filled out your atlas, you don't feel like buying unique maps, maybe you just have 20 to 30 points you have not gotten points into yet. That is not a problem, but essence is also a good one to add to this strategy. But again, do something that's fun for you. Essence is just another thing that the map tier does not matter. You get the same rewards either way, but you would put some points in essence. That could help. But play around with it. Gives you a little bit of room for leeway. Add in some things you like. There's a million things in this game that people enjoy, so don't be afraid to play around with certain things. You could also put some points into things that up the chance of everything else to show up, but makes it so a certain thing cannot show up. You can put some points into those, like say if you didn't want breaches to show up, that'll give you 2% chance for every other content. So you could start, closing some of these off, Expedition, Legion, things you did not want to see. This is kind of a contentious topic. Some people think these are not worth it, some people think they are. I'm not really sure. Sometimes I take them, sometimes I don't. I haven't thoroughly tested it. Maybe if you go out there, look on YouTube, you can find someone who knows definitively if these are even worth it. I think sometimes they are, but, that's not written in stone. I'm not 100% sure, so do not take my word on that. For the maps, we're going to be running Strand, and I like to run Fields along with Strand. Now, to ping pong between these maps and to get good map sustain, you are going to need some favor slots unlocked. You do not need all of these unlocked. Remember, you get to your maps by hitting the G key. As long as you have probably 7 or 8 of these unlocked, and again, I have one that's not unlocked. To unlock a spot, if you hover over it, it'll tell you what you need to complete, and I'd say about half of these are not hard to complete, and you probably have already at this point in the league. If not, just follow what it says to do, look up how to do that. Very simple. But so I take these and I put a bunch of them on Strand. I put a couple of them on the Fields map, so that that node, when you have the connected maps, monsters drop a connected map, percent chance, that is going to make it so one of these drops. If you're running Strand, it makes more likely for Fields to drop. If you're running Fields, it makes more likely for Strand to drop. So you're ping-ponging between these two maps. Okay, and Strand is very good for Delirium. I'll show you that in a second. And Fields is not quite as good for Delirium, but it's not bad at all. You could get to 6 stacks pretty easily on this one. You can get to 7 stacks pretty easily on Strand. Now, also, what's good about these is they are down at the bottom. So, like I said, you can run these at tier 1 or you can run these at tier 16. So say you can't run these at tier 16 yet, you can take some of your watchstones out that you get from, remember, deleting Eater of Worlds, Searing Exarch, Shaper, Uber Shaper, and the Maven. You can take those watchstones out of here, and it will bump them down to tier 2 and to tier 3. So very simple. If you want to do them a little harder, you could put just a couple watchstones in. That'll bump it up to tier 9 and tier 10. You can play around with it. Very customizable to the level of difficulty that you want to do. For Delirium, which is very important on Strand, what you want to do is you want to hit the mirror, and then you want to back up. When you back up, that meter, the rewards meter, does not start filling until they spawn in. So don't hit the mirror and start running and killing stuff. It won't count towards your rewards. So you're going to get Delirium. You're going to run through. Don't speed through super quickly. Try and get the ones that spawn behind you. But this is a very linear map. You are just going to run along the just run along the beach. It is very straightforward. It is not hard. That's why Strand is so good on it. Because if you fall too far behind, you're going to see a timer, and the Delirium fog is going to catch you, and it can end your Delirium prematurely, which is not good. Now, if you have a fear of dying, or if there's a possibility of you dying, every once in a while, maybe once or twice a map, you're going to want to put down a town portal so that if you die, you don't spawn back at the beginning of the map, and end your Delirium a little early. Now, when you get to the boss room, what I usually do is I put a town portal up, I run in, and if everything went well, my rewards will be at around 6, the leftmost reward. If you could see it. Oh, get my big ass head out of the way. I am at 5. I am not spec'd into the Delirium tree. I am running a Magic Find character, so I have my stuff into Magic Find. So I do not have the Delirium thing that'll give me an extra one. But when you do, once you kill the map boss, it will give you an extra, it'll give you an extra stack, which will hopefully put you at 7. Now you can skip to the end of the Delirium once you're done with the map by hitting this button down here, or you can set it to a hotkey. I don't have it set to a hotkey. I just skip it and hit the button to end it, and then it's going to drop a bunch of stuff. See, I got some scarabs. You'll usually drop a Delirium orb, usually about half the time, I find, because you'll have the nodes that have a better chance of dropping them. Not to mention you'll have 7 stacks, whereas I only had 5 stacks on my first reward, because again, as you can see, I'm not running the tree. Now you can pick up other things like Delirium splinters, I forget what they're called, Simulacrum splinters. You get 300 of them, you get a Simulacrum, which is a whole nother mechanic. You can sell those. I don't know what they go for these days, but they usually go for about 50, 60 chaos a piece, so that's a nice little investment. Not to mention, you can see I got some scarabs from that. You're going to get a whole bunch of different types from Delirium. Now, I do have a Delirium orb here. Now, once you get a Delirium orb, what you want to do is you want to put a horticrafting station in your base. If you don't know how to do that, you click on the arrow. In your base, click on Edit, Decorations. Down here in the Filter Decor, you can put in horticrafting station, and you can just drag and drop horticrafting station into your base, plop it down, and you're good to go. These things use the life force that is dropped by the harvest, which is what we are going to be doing and talking about next. You can put the Delirium orbs in here, filter it, put in DE. You can see there's one where change a stack of Delirium orbs into a different type of Delirium orb for very cheap. So we take these and we roll this until we either get a Diviner's one or a Skittering one. There's a Diviner's one. We would keep this. You could see if I use Awaken POE trade, that is worth 30 chaos. Now, you can keep rolling these till you get Skittering, because Skittering are out of this world expensive right now because so many people are juicing that Scarabs are worth a ton right now. You could see just one of the Skittering Delirium orbs is 68 chaos, and 1 divine for 3 of them. You can actually probably get away with selling 3 or 8 of them for 3 divine. They are incredibly pricey. I like to stick with getting as many diviners and Skittering as possible, just simply because it saves on juice. It makes it less likely to just brick all of your harvest juice trying to re-roll these. How you price these is put them in any trade tab. I have a Delirium tab. You do not need this tab for this strategy. I just like to have all the tabs. But what you do is you make it public, right click and say, say you're selling these 3-to-1. Say I want 1 divine for 3 of them. So what you want always goes on the outside. So 1 divine for 3. Okay, that is how you price them, and you are going to make a lot of currency very, very quickly. Now for harvest, you're going to be looking for this icon right here, the Sacred Grove. This is going to be where you start farming the harvest juice. Now, if you are running maps that can have the altars, aka tier 14 plus, you can come back and do this last and try and get the altar choices that improve the quantity on the map, because the life force does scale with the quantity. Now I do not have any of the harvest nodes in here, so these might look a little weak. But what you want to do is, when you are given a choice between which 2 plants to pick, as you can see they are paired off. There's a purple and a yellow, there's a blue and a purple, there's a blue and a blue. You will, once you pick one of them, the other one will most likely wilt and go away. So you have to pick the first time which one is more important. Now there is a node that we pick on the passive tree, gives a 10% chance for when you pick one, the other one doesn't wilt. But it's only a 10% chance, so don't ever rely on that, and always assume that it is going to disappear. You always want to pick the one that has the higher blue number, or a blue number at all. You can see this doesn't have a blue, and this one does. That means there is a monster in here guaranteed to drop life force. That is the one that you want. So I'm going to pick this one, and just proc it, and it will summon a couple waves of monsters. First the easy ones, then the magic ones, and then if there's any rares or the blue ones, you are going to get those ones. So just kill those, pick up the life force. Very simple. Now I don't even have the increased life force nodes in just one of those. Drop 263. That's 8.5 chaos. That basically paid for forcing the harvest, or the 10 or 12 C that it costs to do it. If they are 2 whites, for time's sake, I do not do them if there are no blue monsters on here. I usually just skip it, but you can still do them if you want to scrounge every last penny. You can see there's no blue in here. There is blue in here. I'm going to pick that one. Now the other color is, if you see an orange one, that is a boss. You always want to do the boss if you can do it. That he always drops, 400 or 500 life force. If it duplicates, that's 1,000 life force at a time. Very important. Yeah, but it is not super complicated on how to do the harvest. For the life force, again, you can sell that just like anything else. You can put them in any tab. I have a currency tab that I put stuff in. You can put it in any tab. Life force is very, very pricey at this point in the league, especially ones that wouldn't be so expensive, like purple that rerolls scarabs. Is very important right now. You can see I'm low on it because I use it all the time for that exact purpose, to reroll scarabs. I suggest you hold on to the blue for rerolling delirium orbs. If you have yellow, you could pretty much sell that if you can't think anything to do with it. 1 divine for about 4,000 will sell just fine. And with the purple, 1 for 3,800. I have never seen purple be more expensive than yellow, so that is actually kind of dope. So this strategy is even better than I first thought. When making this video, I thought this was going to be around 5,000 for the purple life force, but no, it's not. And again, you could sell the blue. I suggest holding on to it, but it's good. It's the cheapest, because if you're rerolling delirium orbs and you get a bad, roll streak and you start to run low on blue essence, it's okay to just throw a divine and buy, 5,500 blue essence just to keep the rolling going. You're going to make that up easily, especially with skittering orbs and all of that being so damn expensive. Now, if you want to juice the map with the Affliction Leak mechanic, you can, because the quantity also applies to the harvest monsters. They can be empowered, so that can be good sometimes. But again, if you juice too hard, it's going to make the map very, very difficult. Now, if you're running tier 1s, and you could possibly do it with tier 10, tier 14 or something like that, you could probably juice the hell out of it and still be okay. You do not have to worry so much about that. You can also force both the harvest, the Sacred Grove, by using a charged compass, as well as the compass that forced the Delirium Mirror. Though I don't suggest forcing Delirium Mirror because that compass is very expensive. Sacred Grove one, if anything, might be the one you want to use. You can buy it or roll the Awakened Sextant if you want. I did a video on that the other day. You can go to the channel and check that one out. But you can just take the charged compass, buy one, put it on your watchstone, and when you run a map with this on, it'll automatically make it so the grove is on there. You do not need to use the 7th gate. You do not need to force it. So say you can force Delirium on your map device, and then you can force the Sacred Grove on your map with the compass. So that is an option. I don't always do it. Sometimes I do. These Sacred Grove ones are actually pretty cheap. This one's half gone with only 2 uses remaining. You usually buy this with 4 uses remaining. With 2, it's about 20. So yeah, it's a little expensive, 40. It equals out to if you were just using the 7th gate anyway. That's usually how it works. So it's not that big a deal, but something you have an option for. But that's basically it, guys. Run your Delirium, get them Delirium orbs, get Harvest, get that juice, use the juice to reroll the Delirium orbs, and sell your excess juice. And then throw in some extra points into some mechanics that you enjoy doing if you have some extra points. Harvest makes this very strong, especially if you're running lower tier maps. Harvest Essence makes this very strong, especially if you're running lower tier maps, because it doesn't matter what tier you run, along with all the other mechanics. So incredibly powerful strategy. It's never been more profitable. The juicing league is both cool and both annoying. I think it's going to be detrimental to the game, because I think a lot of newer players are going to play that we're juicing are going to play next league and realize that is not how it normally is, and they are not going to keep allowing that, I'm sure. It's got to be hell on the servers, by the way. So if they don't nerf it then, I think they're going to nerf it in the future, and I think a lot of players, even popular streamers, I think like Rax, who are just getting into the game, they are already getting so spoiled that I have a feeling in the future leagues, certain things aren't going to feel as good, but that is a topic for another video. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Write something down in the comments. Let me know how your league's going, or if I missed anything. And go find some mirror, guys, and we will see you on the next one.